Hello, podcast listeners. Editing Cherry here, and I wanted to just let you guys know in advance that the end bit of the podcast with the reveal is a little janky, a little bit lesser in quality than the rest of the podcast. We are doing our best. We are still learning how to do this whole podcast shenanigan thing. But we are showing up and we're crying about it. We're taking our own advice. So, what's your excuse, chat? What's your excuse? Okay, I'll stop heckling. Don't turn off the video. Don't turn off. Hang on. All right, I'll go. I'm sorry. They're mean to me. Please help. And help by subscribing to the Arts and Dafts Podcast. Thank you. Haha. All right, I'm going to go now. Bye. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the Arts and Dafts Podcast. We're very good at podcasting, very good at it, and we definitely did not have to record over the footage of our drawings a second time for 2 episodes in a row. That didn't happen. We're very professional, and you guys look so beautiful today. Are those new shoes? I'm so happy
I like your new haircut.
Yeah.
Very nice.
All right. Anyway, now that you're well and truly distracted, today we are going to be talking about the mystery of art style and working on the channel banner today. It is a collaborative effort in which we have taken the "This is fine" meme, edited out the sweet little dog, and put monstrosities in its place. Or did we? You'll have to wait till the end of the episode to find out. But basically, we have split the image, and this week, instead of me drawing my Sona and Baban drawing her Sona, we are drawing each other's Sonas, and in the most respectful way possible, I'm sure. But that...
The old switcheroo.
The old switcheroo. But while we're on the subject, if you somehow didn't start with episode 1 of the podcast, first of all, you degenerate. Second of all, this lovely dragon that you see on the screen here in the bottom left corner is my co-host, Baban Illustration. You probably know her from every damn thing. She's all over the internet. She's the emote lady, resident emote lady. Does a lot of adventurous stuff. Did a lot of Homestuck stuff back in the day. Is doing a lot of really classy skeleton ladies on her Twitch channel, and you should check that out.
Show 'em. Show 'em the lady. Show 'em.
Editing Cherry, show 'em the lady. All right.
Show 'em the lady. And the clown on the other side of the screen is my BFFC.
Me.
Cherry.
Yeah. It's
and
me.
We drew these VTubers in the last episode, and we're also using them as VTubers on our own channels, which Edit and Cherry will plug now.
Editing Cherry, put the channels on the screen. That Editing Cherry has to be good for something, okay?
Yeah. We should draw Edit and Cherry.
Yeah, I'm going to. I need a little animation of just like a really sad clown dragging images and links across the screen. Just really, really tired.
Aww.
But if you are not a degenerate and you did start with episode 1, you may recognize the art that's in the bottom of your screen now, as they are from the previous episode. This is what we drew last time, and now their gums flap, and no one is horrified by that at all.
Oh, I love that. I love that description. They're just loose. The gums are loose.
Yeah. In the normally that's just a euphemism, but in the context of what we do here, it's terrifying. Yeah. Okay.
Show him my hoodie. Show him my hoodie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
editing, Cherry, put a warning on the screen and then show the hoodie. And then apologize after.
What are we talking about today, clown friend?
Okay, so we have some questions lined up here that I believe you and I are going to answer, back and forth. And I guess...
No comment.
No comment?
No comment, officer.
Oh, no, it's okay. I don't have a license to... I don't have a license. I don't know how to do it. I can. I'm just thinking about it too hard. I have customer service voice on now, so I can't do accents. But anyway, so let's talk about art style, because I said we were going to talk about that not 5 minutes ago, I'm sure. And Baban, as the more experienced artiste here, how do you develop your art style? Like what do you do to practice? How do you art style?
How do indeed. Well, I can't keep one for anything. Everything I draw looks different, and it's very difficult. So I kind of, I'm a mimic, I guess. I kind of think of myself like, but I like to try on. I like to try them on. I like to take the art style and pull it apart and wear it and stitch it up here and there a little bit and make sure that it fits well. You know? So it's fun to experiment, especially with things that I don't generally like, so that I can find out why I don't like them, and then that helps point me towards the aspects that I do like and I want to focus on.
Okay, actually, I have never thought about that, about practicing with art styles you don't like. That's a really interesting way to think about it and to learn, because for me, I think I do the opposite. I sort of do the mimic thing, but I do it like Build-A-Bear Workshop, except instead of like stuffing the skin full, I just handpick all of the assets I like about somebody's art, and then I hodgepodge them, I Frankenstein them together to make an art style. But if I can just, have my hot take here for a moment, I would say that for me, the best way to develop your art style, and this is coming from a less experienced artist and somebody who is still trying to figure out what they're doing on a daily basis, just draw a lot, all the time, a lot, because I did not realize I had an art style until I was drawing one day, and I just realized that I looked at something and it looked like I drew it. Like it's like it reeked of me. I looked like something I did, and I was like, oh no, I have an art style. And then you have to have the crisis. No, it's a good thing, because then you have to have the crisis of, okay, I have an art style. I'm mad about it. Why am I mad about it? How do I fix it? Because then it's like you've officially built the clean slate, or the slate that you're working on. You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say? I know what I'm trying to say, but I'm Englishing bad.
Yeah, no, I know what you're trying to say. See, I kind of think about that in, there's like certain shapes that you're going to be predisposed to drawing, and I don't know if that's like a physical thing. Like, I kind of think about it maybe being partially a physical thing, depending on how you hold the pen and like move your body and what's easiest. But another way I think about art style is, especially like early on when you're developing it, that it is a combination of all the little problems that you haven't worked out yet, if that makes sense. So I see it as an accumulation of my incompetence, but that's because I want everything that I do to be intentional, and I want to know why I'm doing it so that I understand it. I don't mean to say that if you're not doing that by default your style is bad, because sometimes people know what they're doing and they don't really think about it that deep, and it looks really good. But that's the way I like to think about it, as a motivational tool, I suppose.
No, genuinely, I think that makes sense because I think looking at it as a culmination of your incompetencies, but you could also even look at it as a culmination of your competencies because, you're not
Mm-hmm.
going to be doing everything in a way that you wish you weren't. There's still going to be some things there that you're like, okay, I like that I did this, but I still see that I need to work on this. And that gives you a place to target. And from there, it's really just refining the style. Bob
Mm-hmm.
Ross and the canvas and pulling the painting out of it. You know that one? You know that saying? What's that one?
Oh yeah. I'm not sure how he says it, but I like to think about it like archaeology. Like if you keep digging, you're gonna find what's in the canvas.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's my version of it.
no, that's the best. I think that's good because there there's value in each and every one of us. We just gotta learn how to see it.
Everybody's special. You just gotta draw though. You're special, but you do have to like draw.
Yeah. All right. So
Uh-huh.
that's all the niceness that you get until like a month and a half from now when we make a new podcast, okay? So for now, take what you can get. Now draw, okay? Just I on
Yeah,
my
cry
desk.
about it.
On my desk,
Cry about it, chat.
next to my
Cry.
manifesto. Um how much do we adhere to realism or realistic anatomy and physics?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, I think you should go first on that one because you draw like magic stuff with Zazzle.
I think that I do a combination of both. I will say that I think it's for me. I think that it is good to know realistic proportions because I think that you need to have a very good understanding of what you are trying to exaggerate in terms of like what parts of the body are going to be understood if you don't go into huge detail on them. So, I mean, for Zazzle, I guess a lot of people, like locally out here, have seen Zazzle and have been like, anime, but I don't really look at Zazzle as anime. I feel like Zazzle is somewhere in between anime and American style, comic style.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
think so too. Put some Zazzle on the screen editing, Cherry, like recent Zazzle.
Editing Cherry,
I
fetch me the custard.
think. I think. I think you can tell that there's anime influences in it,
Yeah,
but it does read
unfortunately.
more Western to me.
Okay. See, I'm okay with that because I didn't want it to be too anime. I wanted it to be this is going to make me sound really snobby, but a lot of anime, I feel like, especially if you just use the generic term anime, I feel that there is a lot of simplifications when it comes to anime style, and I think that's fine. It's just not, I didn't want something that simple, but then I didn't want to go as crazy as Iraqi. I don't know. I say that. I kind of do, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, But Zazzle also is a silly boy, so I like to take the opportunity to like draw chibis in there and make weird creatures like the Axel doggos, and
Yeah.
just play around. I need it realistic enough so that when things are serious, it reads serious, but silly enough that when things don't need to be serious, it's not jarring that it's all of a sudden goofy. Like I had a whole
Yeah,
recap
like
chapter that was chibi, and I feel like if Zazzle was too serious, that wouldn't have worked. It would have been very jarring for everybody.
I agree. I think that works for that though. What was the question
How much do you adhere to realism or realistic anatomy and physics?
again? Ooh. Okay, with physics, I talk a lot about how, well, I guess it's kind of anatomy and physics, but the way that bodies move, I really think that cats are interesting with how they have a smaller rib cage so that they can twist, and you don't really see that in humans because we're built different, but I apply things like that to humans to make the body more twistable. So I will mess about with the anatomy in that way, and by extension, the physics, I suppose, but it's just from like learning anatomical stuff about different things anyway, so I'm not sure how far I'm pushing it.
Okay. No, I like that. I like that comparison with cats and people, because that is definitely something that we don't think about a whole lot, and like, especially if you're thinking about like when people do the boobs and butt pose.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it is. It's to get the boobs and butt pose.
Yeah, yeah.
You caught me.
I mean, listen, we're all artists here. We know what we're doing. Okay, so stylistic details we like and exaggerate besides the bobs and the booty.
I really like to exaggerate the shapes and the planes. So I do it with clothing. So I'll have a piece of fabric that is one color on one side and a different color on another, so that you can really play up the difference if you get some, I want to say foreshortening, but I mean where the fabric kind of ripples and you see both sides of it, like a ribbon moving around or twisting. So I like defining the planes with color like that. And I've done that in character designs and things. I can send you some to put on the screen.
Yeah, editing Cherry, put those examples on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
I think that's my favorite. Go on.
Stylistic details I like and exaggerate. I don't know. What do I exaggerate? I've been trying to exaggerate facial features more, or not facial features, facial expressions. Because it drives me crazy how in anime and like cartoons, even, well, I mean, American cartoons and anime both do it, but they make the most expressive facial expressions with like, they ignore the boundaries and the anatomy of the face, and they just make the expression and slap it on, and it looks really cool. And I think that that's really neat. I would also like to be able to do that without overthinking it, because again, I think the nature of my comic and also the style that it's in, I think that that kind of expression would lend itself to the art style. And I would like to do that. And I know that this is something that I said that I already do exaggerate. But that's on my mind, and that's what you get today.
I think that's a really good one because I think about that a lot too. And that's one of the main things I was having trouble with where I was studying stylization and what route I wanted to go down with different things. I still haven't decided on like one, but I'm all over the place. It's that Mickey Mouseiest thing where they're not relative to the face, they're like absolute. So everything's always from one angle, if that makes sense, is the way I think about it. One I was going to say that you do actually is where you color in the upper lip, but not the lower one. I'd see that as a stylistic choice. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm gonna out myself. I'm gonna do it because we're all friends here. Do you know why I do that?
Is it Inuyasha or something?
No.
Is it a different anime?
It's not even an anime.
Go on.
And I'm gonna say this, okay? I'm gonna say this, and you're gonna know immediately why I did not want to share this, okay? So you can laugh at me for it later. I do that because of Kim Possible.
Oh no, but that looks really cool though.
I didn't even like Kim Possible that much as a kid, but that stylistic choice sat with me so strongly that when I started feeling more confident in drawing, that I started doing that myself. And I don't know why. I don't know why I like that much. But I just thought that was so cool. And then when I started getting into JoJo, I noticed that Araki defines the upper lip on men as well. He does it in a different way. So I have been trying to figure out how I want to incorporate that into my art style, because I don't want to completely blatantly rip off Araki in every aspect of everything I do. Like, I do want to live in his brain folds, but like I'm not trying to be him. But yeah, I think that there's a place for that in my art style somehow. I say that, and I'm looking at an image of Giorno right now, and he has the upper lip shading that I'm talking about, and I'm just deliberating. But anyway, that's besides the point. But thank you for bringing that up. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you're right. I stole that from Kim Possible. 100%. I did.
No, I really like that. I think it looks cool. I was trying to think of one that I do that's similar to that, in that I saw it and took it.
I don't. You know, there's a lot of stuff once I started studying Muka that I noticed that you do a lot. I don't know if that was intentional, but there's a lot of stuff you do that reads Muka. And then there's another artist. They do Homestuck stuff. They might still...
Zamag?
Yeah. There's a lot of Zamag stuff that you do also.
Oh, yeah. I used to really like Zamag.
Yeah, I could tell.
Xamag for anyone who wants to look up Zamag.
I don't know if Zamag still goes by, because I know that at one point there was a website that had a bunch of their old art on it, and I checked it recently, and it is not, like, it's down. So I don't know what they're doing these days. I thought at one point they were working on
Homestuck fan venture thing.
Yeah, wasn't it Vast Error? Weren't they?
That was it, yeah. That was the one. That's a very nice... See, that's the kind of thing I think Zamag style, where it's between anime and Western style, kind of. I'd say yours leans that way, also.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm happy to be compared to Zamag.
Yeah.
I will try to find Zamag so Editing Cherry can post the link to whatever social they're using. If anybody knows it, and if this goes out and Editing Cherry hasn't found it and anybody knows it, please share it, because I mean, we've had a whole conversation about Zamag at this point. I feel like we should at least show.
Yeah.
Okay. What did you draw as a kid, Baban?
Ooh, okay, so I was showing you one the other day from my book, and it's like a couple of Yoshis, and it's like, one day Yoshi was out gardening, and the Yoshi sees the other Yoshi and is like, oh my god, she's so pretty, I'm gonna marry her. And I don't know what that's about, but that was a phase I had, apparently. So I kind of went from drawing like Yoshis and cats and things. There was a book called Super Diaper Baby by the guy who wrote Captain Underpants, that I used to draw the characters from a lot. Also Zim, and then I started drawing like aeroplanes and tanks and stuff, and then it went into like weird creepy monster things. And then I think I started drawing normally. You know, relatively normally, like fun art stuff after that.
I like that. Yeah, I liked your Yoshi fan fiction. I drew oh man. I started off drawing like horses and dragons, and they were really bad, and then a lot of Sonics. I drew Sonic a lot. Actually I found the Sonic art, the original old school ones that I did. So Editing Cherry can put those on the screen. I will share my old Sonics because it's worth it. And then I got into anime, and you know, the rest is history, as you know. I'm pretty sure I've talked about that on the last episode, that anime ruined my life.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'll continue to say it.
Did we have a progression of interests and themes, actually? I guess I already covered that with mine, but
I think I covered it too. It went from Sonic to anime.
yeah, the usual. How did we learn to draw initially? Did we learn by mimicking, copying, tracing, drawing from manuals and how-to books?
Do you want to answer that first?
I used to draw from some like game manuals, like Zelda, where they would have a bit of the, I suppose, concept art or like the official art for it. It wasn't really concept art. It wasn't the like sketches and things. But I would draw from that kind of thing to learn, and I also had a few art books, but as I was around maybe like 13 or 14, I started to just look at tutorials on DeviantArt and watch people on YouTube.
Oh, that's clever. I didn't get into YouTube tutorials until I was like way older, but I learned to draw. Well, first I was just drawing, and I learned kind of to draw the way my friends were drawing. So, like, my friend had a way of drawing horses, so then I learned how to draw horses like that. And then once I started getting into Sonic, and I started getting, like, really into wanting to draw, I would pull. First of all, I drew from the game manuals also. I think that's really funny that you also did that. I would, like, go and get all of my GameCube booklets and put them in my backpack and take them to school. And then when I needed something to draw, I would, like, flip through them and pick an image and try to redraw it and then get fed up because mine didn't look the same. But anyway, that's different. Uh, with Sonic,
That's adorable.
I would put the splash screen or like the concept art in like the video game extras menu. I would put the concept art on the screen, and then I would put a piece of paper on my television and trace it. Because back in my day, we didn't have those flimsy flat screens. It was a whole cube of a TV, and it was sturdy, and I could put my pencil on the screen, and it was fine. But I would trace Sonic and then be like, wow, it looks so good. And then I would get another piece of paper and I would draw it again, but like while looking at it on the screen, and then draw it. And then I would draw it again without looking at it, and it would get worse every time, but that was okay because the intention was there. And then when I got into anime, I did the same thing with I had a DVD of an Inuyasha movie, and I pulled up the character designs for the animators' character sheets, and I drew from those.
Oh, that's cool.
And I did the same thing, and those were a lot harder than Sonic, if you can believe it.
Yeah. No, see, I think that's really clever because that's a lot of the way that I will learn stuff now, which is to kind of copy it and then try and draw it without the reference and see the improvement. So I think it's interesting that you were doing that so early on. That also reminds me that I used to do that with Akami because they had the art on the video game that you could bring up. But I don't think I copied it like directly off the screen, like tracing it. I just like drew it and painted it.
That's smart. Did you guys have the Chalk Zone cartoon?
No.
Oh man, there was a cartoon that came on when I was a kid called Chalk Zone, and I know somebody probably remembers it, but yeah, this kid, he had magic chalk and he would draw stuff, and then it would come to life in the chalkboard world. And I think they had to like draw a circle on the chalkboard to go into the chalk world, but it's like everything that was ever drawn on a chalkboard and then erased was there. But in my head, I was like, ooh, drawing come to life. And I just was like really fascinated by that concept. Because, I mean, if you think about it, if you draw something, you bring it to life. So this is a self-bully as well as a bully to everybody else out there who has a idea for a comic and or a concept. Every day that you don't continue your character's story, you're stopping them from being alive. So just remember that.
Wow.
Yeah, you didn't think about that, did you? No, you only think about yourself. How about that?
Wow. Wow. Hey, you're getting meaner than me. That's not fair. All I do is tell him to keep crying.
Hey, listen, I really that was really directed at myself. So like I'm gonna be editing this later and cry, but it's fine.
Aw.
I'm gonna cry.
That made me remember as well one of the early things I did fan art for and like started looking on DeviantArt of fan art of was a game called Drawn to Life.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
yeah, that was a fun little game because basically there's a book and the whole world is like in it drawn, and then this little douchebag of a guy comes and like rips it up and makes it all messy, and then the world is covered in goop, and you've got to go and draw. You get to like draw the character, and it's like a platformer. It's kind of cute for what it is.
That is very cool. Okay, so do you remember any early artists that influenced you?
Hmm.
Or I mean, I guess it could be like the first artist that influenced you cuz didn't we kind of talked about artists we liked already. I'm pretty sure we already yelled about Neskane and stuff.
I don't know about influencing me like right away. If it wasn't like where I was just copying from them, but now I'm very much leaning back into where I used to watch a lot of Zim as a kid. I really enjoy a lot of you don't really see it in the lines, but a lot of the kind of underlying structure of the shapes, where they're very pointy. Yeah. So I guess Joan and Vasquez.
That's a good one. I liked his art style a lot, but I never could I never could get my brain to understand it in a way to where I could replicate it and apply it to my own art. I did absolutely fall in love with Rumiko Takahashi's art. I just thought that her proportions, I know that I like kind of dunked on anime being simplified, but I don't know. There's something about the way she simplifies her characters that makes them very cute. And I was reading an interview with her recently. I'm gonna go off for just a hot second because I just love Rumiko
Me
Takahashi
too.
so much. But she was talking about how she tries to draw her characters front facing very often, and it's funny because I never noticed that that was a thing that she did until she pointed it out in that interview. And then I'm realizing, like, yeah, she kind of does, but it's like her version of being dynamic is very. It seems like she does a lot of aerial poses and, lets the character fill out the screen. And that is what is I guess when she worded it like that, it made me realize that there are so many different ways that you can be dynamic without making it so difficult on yourself, because what Rumiko Takahashi defines as dynamic is not going to be the same thing that Hirohiko Araki defines as dynamic, but they're both going to be appealing to look at for different reasons. And it's just like it made my brain go ooh, because there's so many right ways to do art. Like there's so many wrong ways to do art, deviant art, but like it's there's so many right ways to do it. And I'm like, why is it that there's so many right ways, but every time I do it, it's wrong? I don't understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think she's great. And when I discovered Inuyasha and then later got access to the internet, which everybody should regret at this point, but I looked her up and I started finding that she had done a lot of things. So I discovered Ranma and I discovered Urusei Yatsura. And I don't remember if I've talked about it already, but those things have had a big impact on how Zazzle came about. So
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
shout out to my homie Takahashi Sensei. And she's also making a new thing now called Mao, and I started reading it, and it's really cute. It is kind of Inuyasha with extra steps, but she's living her best life, and she's like on her like 18th manga series or something in her 60s. So you know what? I'm not gonna dunk on it. I'm not even done with my first one. So she's
No. She knows what she likes, and she likes what she know.
that's right. That's oh
Hmm.
well. I see here the next point was me supposed to be going off about Inuyasha anyway. So yeah, I guess I should point out that the reason that I was so taken with Inuyasha is because it was a cartoon, but the people were actual people sized, you know? Because I'm watching stuff like The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and then you have Grim who's like adult size, and then Billy and Mandy are like 2.5 feet tall. And the same thing with like every other thing. All the characters are like squashed down and Americanized. But when I watched Inuyasha, I was like, whoa, these cartoons actually look like people. I didn't know you could do that and animate it. And I mean, ignoring every Disney movie ever that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is I'm more impressed by anime than I am Disney. Take that as you will. But yeah, I was really excited about it, and I guess once I saw that that was possible, that kind of kick-started my interest into art because I was like, well, I mean, I like cartoons, but I would want to draw more like what I see and not like I don't know. I guess my brain was just always wired for more realistic proportions than the squashy ones.
Yeah, I think it fits with Zazzle as well because you've got a lot of like more serious stuff in it too. Where it might play kind of silly if it was more cartoony.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's see. What informed what our styles has developed into? More recent influences, things that you have learned or studied, art mediums. You got to answer this one, Bob. And I've just talked forever, and I have been very Pride Month about Rumiko Takahashi. So can you talk now?
uh, um, okay, so I really like Muka, as you say. I really like anatomy and moving around and making it look dynamic. I also I guess on the other end of it, then again, he is very good at poses. I really like Neskane because he makes a lot of things very angular, especially in the way that he paints. But he also has that movement and structure as well, where it's very solid. But he can do a wacky pose with some cool movement in it too. Uh, I don't know what else have I been leaning into style wise. I had a whole moment there where I was obsessed with Robert Valley. It's pretty cool.
You were also going back and looking at like your old art and pulling from styles that you had done before at some point while you were doing stylization tests.
Oh yeah. So a lot of it was, I guess, kind of like early 2000s, kind of girly pop cartoons. There was something specific that I liked. Where you get, I guess, it's kind of like Sonic proportions, and I figured out that I didn't like chibi proportions because all the weight was in the center, and then it didn't have very long limbs to do cool poses with. So I was leaning towards things like Panty and Stocking, where they have bigger hands and bigger feet. And well, I guess Sonic too, even though I didn't really draw that much Sonic, but where you've got all that weight in the extremities that you can throw around and make cool poses with.
That's true. Yeah, I think that kind of style lends itself to like boneless limbs, and you could do some funky stuff with that.
You say that. I was just thinking about my skeleton lady, and she kind of has those proportions, but she does have bones in the limbs, so that's a little bit of a problem. But I'm thinking I can like stretch them and have the bones move.
We can do a whole podcast on self sabotage if you want to.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea, actually.
Unfortunately, it is. I'm going to be really sad that whole podcast because I'm going to be calling myself out the entire hour.
Oh.
But I have to say and I think you'll like this, or you won't. I don't really care. I'm gonna say it anyway.
Uh-oh.
I had kind of considered like what I had like what was helping me develop my art style more recently, and somebody was looking at my comic back around Christmas, and they were messaging me about it, and they were like, do you know what your art style kind of reminds me of? And I was like, no, but you should tell me. And they said, your art style looks like the Legends of Evantris emotes. And I was floored because I said, no, you're not going to believe this. Actually, hold on, you're not going to believe this, but my best friend made those. So apparently you have rubbed off on me, which I mean, I'm not surprised by that information, actually, because
Don't tell him that. Oh my god.
sorry. Wait, hold on, wait, what? Hold on. Pride month, that's fine. It's Pride month. It's Pride month, it's fine. What is wow. That, I'm clipping that. Anyway. I lost my train of thought. I was gonna say I'm not surprised because when I started trying to draw seriously and like as an adult, I found your YouTube channel first and was trying to learn. So I did learn a lot from watching you, and then also, you know, I try to learn muscles from people like Ness Kane, and then there's a Rocky, and there's another JoJo artist that draws a lot of steel ball run stuff that I like. I like how they make faces look. They look very good and very three-dimensional, and I am trying to steal that regularly. Okay, so I think as we wrap up, one thing that I really wanted to touch on in this podcast, and we've kind of started here already, but I think we could go a little more in depth with what time we have left. But we have stylistic choice versus a technical inaccuracy. And what are your thoughts on that? Because I think that I know what you're going to say, and I think I agree, but I think you're going to say it better than me. So lay it on me.
Okay, so this is kind of why I look at my style as a accumulation of all my failings and where I need to work things out. But if you can't understand what something looks like in reality and how it works technically, it's very difficult to get it across in a simplified, stylized way. I talk about it a lot in tutorials, actually, where I'm talking about simplifying things. But if you don't understand what you're drawing and what it looks like, especially if it's a human face or something that we are just programmed to instantly be able to read and tell what it is and distinguish expressions, you're going to have a real bad time trying to stylize it or draw it at all.
Yeah, thanks, Sans Undertale.
Mm-hmm.
No, and I think that that's fair enough. I mean, I could loop it back to what I was saying earlier. You can't well, I mean, okay, let me rephrase. You can. Some people just kind of get it. I'm not one of those people who can exaggerate things without knowing what is there to be exaggerated. Like, I mean, I'm thinking about Popeye's arms because that came up earlier today. But, you know, the way they look, you wouldn't be able to exaggerate them that way if you didn't really know where the muscle groups were in arms. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah, they're silly, but they're also, like, iconic. Because I feel like if I say Popeye's arms, there's... Like, you could silhouette Popeye and see the arms, and everybody's going to know exactly... That and the little pipe. Everyone's going to know who that is.
Mm-hmm. And the chin.
And the chin, that's right. Without him having to say a word, everybody's going to know who Popeye is. Um, the other thing is that I think some people hide behind style choice as an excuse because they are afraid of critique. And I understand that you work hard on a drawing and you are proud of yourself. And it is very humbling when you go and present your picture to be put on the fridge and somebody says, well, I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. 100% I get it. But the most helpful thing that I have done for myself has been to just say, okay, well, I am constantly complaining either out loud or to myself that I am not happy with where I am skill wise. And the only way that I'm going to fix that is if I hear from other people what I'm doing that it just isn't hitting the mark. I'm not even going to say what I'm doing that's bad or wrong, because that's not even always the case. You can be on the right track for something and it's just not hitting the mark. Because with art, I don't know, there's a lot of ways to do things right, but there's also a lot of combinations of things that that'll make your piece shine more, and like minor fixes that will take a piece from like an 8 to a 10, if that makes sense. But it's also kind of going back to that concept of you can't exaggerate what information you don't have. I cannot build upon information that I don't have. So if I don't know what I'm doing that isn't hitting the mark, I'm never going to be able to, well, I mean, I'll be able to reach it eventually. Eventually, I will just try and fail until I get it. But that process is going to come a lot quicker if I'm showing my work to somebody who is more experienced and they've already had this struggle, and then they look at me and say, okay, here's what you're doing. Here's what you could work on. Here's how you could improve on that. I mean, it's not always what you want to hear, but if you're open to it, I think that it's very good for you. But also, there's going to be some people who critique because they're hateful and they just want to be mean. And that's also okay, because you are an individual and you can choose what critique is helpful to you and what critique is not helpful to you. But you're never going to be able to decide what's helpful and what's not if you're never open to listening to it.
No, I agree, because I try and separate out, I guess just in general, not even just with critiques, but even if someone's being shitty to me, I will think about what they have said that is, suggesting that I'm being an asshole or something. I will think about it and see if there's any validity to it, because you can say something in a mean way, but it can still be true. Like, it doesn't matter how you say it.
It's true.
There can still be truth in there that you can still learn from it. Doesn't mean that you should, listen to every asshole that's being an asshole, but just being able to discern and split what is helpful from the attitude it's presented with, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, one of the most helpful critiques I've ever gotten started with somebody straight up saying that it looks like I didn't even try on a drawing that I did. And I was actually pretty offended by that, because I felt like I tried pretty hard. It's just, it was a whole thing. And I had to sit and stew on that for probably about an hour before I, responded to it. And all I said was, I'm going to need you to elaborate on that, because it's not really helpful with you just saying it that way. And that person came back and actually, step by step went through how they would have constructed my drawing instead. And came back with screenshots and everything, and very high level explanation. And it was so helpful, but they just started off so hateful for no reason. So, I mean, that's a good example of you're not going to know if you're not open to it. Now, granted, I was not very eager to take this person's advice, because they were being a little butthole on purpose. but I cannot deny that their advice was very technical and very helpful. So you never know. Sometimes you gotta sift through the poop to find the flower underneath. I don't know why it's under there, but that's where it is.
Yep.
I don't know where I'm going with this. Oh. But yeah. I think you've worded it the best in the notes here. You don't have to be a chef to know the soup tastes like crap. And genuinely,
Oh yeah.
Go ahead. You say it.
Oh, I get a lot of people in my stream that will be like, "Oh, this thing looks off, but I can't tell you why. I'm sorry." And I'm like, "No, don't say sorry. Like, I want to know." It's not, it's not everyone else's job to tell me what the problem is, but if they spot that something looks off, that is like very helpful. That is all the information I need. The rest of it is my problem to fix.
Definitely. Well, and I mean, that's the cool thing about the arts and stuff is that it's most people may not be trained in those things, but we have been surrounded by them in such a way that most people have some inclination of what looks good and what doesn't look good. And likewise with music, like somebody could tell you what sounds good and what doesn't sound good, because there's like with music and different notes and chords and things, the vibrations, like if things don't match up, the vibrations are all janky. And I know what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying not to go off and be like too technical with it, because this podcast isn't about music. But like the best thing I can say is if you play two notes, right? If one person plays a note and then the other person plays the same note and those notes aren't in tune, you're going to hear a wobbling because the vibrations don't match. And the sound waves get all crazy, and you can hear that, and you as a person can be like, that doesn't sound good, I don't like that. But the same thing can be said with art. We're used to things that are aesthetically pleasing. So if you're doing something and even if somebody isn't trained in art, they can look at it and they can say, oh, okay, something's not hitting. So one thing that I have started doing when I notice there's something off and I can't tell what it is, I'll look away from it for a little bit and then turn back and look at it, and I will pay attention to what my eye goes to first.
See, that's clever. I was going to say also that it loops back around to what I was saying before, where we are like ingrained with what a human face looks like. It's like a biologically ingrained for us to be able to recognize that in different expressions and things. So if you try and draw that and it looks off, people will know immediately. And that's a really helpful thing with art too, is that it is so immediate. You can look at it and you know immediately, like your brain catches on before you can even think about it if something looks wrong. So it's very easy to get people to help, because trying to get someone to listen to your music, like, hey bro, look at my SoundCloud, that must be really difficult, or even to read your stuff, because that's like a time investment. But if art looks bad, people are really willing to tell you, like, hey, this looks like shit. I don't know why, but it looks like shit.
Yeah, well, they also, I mean, at least in your case, they have the benefit of being behind the computer, so they can just be like, you suck.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's kind of funny because I really value that input, and I have had occasions where people have turned up and been like, this looks like shit, and I'm just like, oh, that's interesting, can you tell me more? I'm like really excited about it. They're not expecting it. It's kind of funny. It's like, no, please, I want to know.
Yeah, it's like you have the same method with like getting better at art that I did when I got bullied in school, which is like when people said something negative about me, I just agreed with them.
Yeah. Like, you're right, it does. Can you give me any tips on that, please?
Yeah, it just takes all the wind out of their sails, because then they're just like, are you okay?
Yeah, they don't know what to do about it.
Jazz music stops. No, I think that I think I like how you've said that, because honestly, And I mean, I guess it's harder when you're making up creatures and things, like you're making things that don't exist in nature, but honestly, if you're like drawing a room, people understand what like the structure of their home should look like. They understand what a square room should look like and how things sit in a square room. So, yeah, if your perspective is off, they're going to be able to tell. And it's like you said, we all see people every day. So if you draw people and it doesn't look like a people, they're going to know.
Yup. It's a little bit wrong, if it's a little bit uncanny valley, they're gonna know and they're gonna tell you. I'm trying to catch that. I want to catch the uncanny valley and make people uncomfortable.
Oh, please, you don't need that power. You don't need that power.
Yes, I do.
All right, well, when that happens, I don't know. I mean, I'll still be here podcasting with you. I'll just be more uncomfortable, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, God. An uncanny valley PNG tuber, though. Just imagine.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder if I like flipped my one upside down. Okay, you saw one sketch that I did. I can't show it, but there was like a head, and then there was like another head attached to it, and it was like two people merged together at the head.
Uh-huh.
It's like double eyeball thing going on, quadruple eyeball thing going on. Something like that.
I thought you were talking about something else. Yeah. No, that one was pretty bad, too. You can't show that one, but that
No.
one was good. I thought you were talking about something else you did in an Aggie once, but it's fine.
No. We should do that as an episode. Like, how uncanny valley can we make things?
Yeah, we should. I don't know. I'm nowhere near understanding the uncanny valley flavor, but I'll show up and do my best.
Yeah. Horror stream.
Yeah, when you mean every episode. But speaking of streams, if you haven't caught us live yet, we have been trying to alternate Fridays between recording new episodes of the podcast and streaming together on the Arts and Dafts YouTube channel and Twitch channel. Are we planning a stream? Well, I guess it's not really helpful if I say when we're planning a stream right now. You know what? Fridays. Just show up on Friday, and if we're there, we're there, and if we're not, draw. If we're there, draw.
Yep.
Just show up Friday and draw. Okay?
Cry about it for the rest of the week as well. But also draw.
Fry about it. Yeah, Fridays. Friday fry about it stream. I don't know. That's awful. Don't. You know what? No. Editing Cherry, don't do anything, but just be ashamed that I said that. Just Editing Cherry is just aw.
Aww.
But yeah, more often Friday stream where Baban and I draw together in Magma.
Yeah. Cool.
Editing Cherry, put last stream's Magma on the screen, and I also apologize after for what I drew.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, if you have to ask why any of us would be sorry, you just look at it. You'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. That was a weird stream. A lot of Chris Channon talk about foot chakra. It was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think with that, we can start wrapping up and get ready for the reveal. Next time, we're going to be making the logos, which I think we're good on that one. I don't think we're going to have to re-record audio some more a third time. I think that Editing Cherry just needs to do the Editing Cherry thing.
Cool. Good. Great.
But that's it for now. We will move on to the reveal portion where we will mash these bad boys together and see what we have done. And the whole YouTube can see what we have done, and you will either be impressed or horrified or some combination of both. But thank you for listening to the second episode of the Arts and Dafts Podcast, and we will be back some more again with a third episode and eventually a 30th. You will never get rid of us. We're here to stay. Keep drawing. Keep drawing. Cry about it.
Cry about it, chat.
Yeah. Okay, we are back after finishing our artwork. If you've made it this far, you've watched the finished time lapses. And we have not seen what the other has drawn yet. I have my side locked and loaded, ready to deposit safely in Discord. What about you?
I also have mine ready. It is there. It is and ready.
Okay. So, you want to do like a 3, 2, 1 and then drop it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Oh, wait. Oh, what is this? What has happened? Whoa!
Oh, there's feet. On the mouse.
Wait! Okay, but look. Is that a gravy bowl? No, that's the custard straw. Oh my god, and I drew the vacuum. Yeah. Oh god. This is so good. This is so Ren and Stimpy.
It's what?
It's Ren and Stimpy.
It is. I can't believe that I'm over there running like the Joe Togan podcast. That's what I'm doing there, the dragon.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, feet. Yeah, feet. I like the hands.
My favorite thing that I have just like decided is that the dragon has too many details on the hands. I was gonna do that also with the feet, but I was like, no.
That's dangerous. It's fine. It's fine. We get the point.
Yeah, I think the mouse, using the mouse with the toes was as far as I was willing to go.
Oh yeah, that's excellent. That's my favorite. That and like the squatting to get in frame, like hunched over.
Yeah. I had so much trouble getting started because I couldn't figure out like, okay, how, like, I'm gonna bend it obviously, but like how do I make it sit in a chair but also go in many directions? Because at first I just drew a shape. And then I looked at the reference and realized like your dragon actually has a butt. So I'm like, no, the butt has to go in the seat. So I started there and was like, okay, this part's easy because the knees are going to come up too high. You're going to see more of the butt than you really want to see. Great. And then I could not figure out the rest. So I just ended up drawing the face on a different layer and then just trying to fill the rest in.
Amazing. I love it.
I'm going to put these together real quick.
I like that the dragon is doing this. Like the actually.
Actually, you just need to get good at anatomy. That's not your style, bro. Actually.
I like the little swirl on the butt because it looks like extra like wrinkles.
Mm-hmm.
They're going on there.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of what you had going on in the reference, and then I started messing with it, and the colors made it look awful. Made me think of like a baboon.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it kind of is. I was trying to make it look like a peach shape.
It worked. It's good. I think Zazzle in the top has killed me.
Good. Yeah, he's got the holy grail, the Tubby custard.
Oh, this is so good. Hang on. Making sure it's lined up.
Oh, you putting them together now?
Yeah, I was gonna drop them.
These are gonna look so funny. You took up so much of the page.
Well, like, that was the point, right? Like, we had to do that, and I don't know, it worked out really good. I was worried it was gonna be barren a bit, but it's not at all. This turned out
No.
amazing. This is perfect. Okay, here. Here we go. The Babanner.
Oh, it's so good.
It is. It's amazing. Oh my god.
It's all kinds of weird.
Yeah, weird is a word for it. Man, see, do your comics so I can add your characters in here. I feel bad. It's Zazzle heavy.
It's okay. I like the pink man.
Yeah, I know. That's why I gave you a custard shower.
Yeah, oh, yes, a pink custard shower.
Yeah.
You can draw the skeleton lady. I like that you are drawing the eyes like kind of lozenge shaped, where they have the extra line to like define that they've got that squared off edge as well.
Yeah. I want them to kind of look like they're bulging out a little bit. I don't want them to look flat.
Like fucking keyboard buttons.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Hype Train is very excited about this podcast banner. It's taking everything in me not to go throw this at YouTube right now. But I'm gonna not. Because I want to add like a couple of little things, like the logo and like the buttons where you can find us and all that jazz. But
yeah.
this is so good. This is making me so happy to look at. This is just awful.
I like that there's that little drip of custard on the floor and it's just like really suspiciously placed by the butt.
Yeah, yeah. I was trying not to go too terribly far with that. It was difficult. Because I wanted to go much further, but you know,
You put the shine highlights on as well.
yeah. See, I'm struggling with that part. That's I'm trying to capture that thing that you do where you make things shiny, and it's like the upsetting kind of shiny where it's too much and it makes it seem too textury. I'm not quite
Yeah.
there yet, but I'm trying.
You're getting too good at drawing feet.
I'm worried about that. It's when it's for a meme, suddenly I can draw feet. But when I need to draw like a full body thing for the comic or anything in general, I don't get it. I don't understand.
No.
Don't get it. Doesn't make sense. Never seen a foot before. But when I'm memed, oh no, all of a sudden feet make sense. We already talked about my search history. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guesses in the comments below, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, with that being said, this has been the second episode of the Arts and Dafts podcast. For zero coordination, this turned out amazing.
It did. I was very careful not to try and get too close. I was tempted because I didn't know if you were gonna sort of use the edge to put something against it.
Yeah, see, my first idea was like having the legs under the table, but then I was like, well, I don't know if that's gonna be like hard to edit, and I didn't want to invade your space because I didn't know what you were doing. So I was like, okay, we'll just work with what we have. But no, this is my new favorite drawing that ever existed, actually.
So good.
Okay. So, we will be back next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Okay. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.